Karma. I believe everyone has their own definition for karma. I'll tell you my understanding about it. What does the karma mean? What is it about? I believe it is the irony of becoming. I think karma has a sense of irony, not the dramatic kind. Not lightning from the sky, not revenge, not watching someone fall and calling it justice. The quiet kind, the kind that lets a person become exactly what their choices were creating all along. The person who spends their life chasing admiration may eventually discover that applause is not the same as affection. They can have 1,000 eyes on them and still have nobody who knows what they are like when the light goes off. The person who manipulates everyone may eventually find themselves surrounded by people who smile at them but trust nothing they say. The person who treats love like a game may eventually meet someone whose feelings they cannot control. And the person who believes beauty gives them power may eventually discover that a face can open a door. But character determines who is allowed to stay inside. Time has a way of undressing people, not physically, emotionally. It removes the performance, the status, the charm, the excuses, the carefully constructed image. And eventually, everyone has to meet themselves without an audience. That's where karma becomes interesting. Because you can deceive people for years. You can convince them you're kind. You can convince them you're loyal. You can convince them you're innocent. You can even convince them yourself. But you cannot negotiate forever with the person you become when nobody is watching. Your choices are quietly writing your character every single day. And one day you have to live inside what you wrote. That's why I don't think karma is about getting hurt because they hurt you. Sometimes the greatest consequence is simply becoming incapable of receiving what you once had. Imagine being trusted and destroying that trust so many times that even your apologies stop sounding believable. Imagine being offered something genuine and choosing something temporary because it was easier. Imagine having someone who loved you completely and losing them because you didn't know how to value it. That can be karma as well, not punishment. It's recognition, recognizing arriving too late. And there is beautiful karma too. Someone tries to make you feel insignificant. You don't spend your life proving them wrong. You built your life so full that their opinion becomes irrelevant. Someone leaves you believing you'll never recover. You recover. Someone makes you afraid to love again. You learn to love with better judgment. Someone makes you question your worth. You stop asking them to measure it. Someone might break your heart, and instead of becoming someone who breaks others' heart, you become someone who understands them better. That is a kind of victory nobody can photograph, sweetheart. Because some things cannot be taken from you. Your ability to feel deeply, your imagination, your ability to create something from nothing, your eye for beauty, maybe your curiosity, your memories, your ability to begin again, your capacity to still be moved by music, your ability to look at an ordinary movement and turn it into art. Someone can take their love away, they can take their presence away, they can rewrite the story of what happened. But, but, they cannot decide who you become afterward. That part remain yours. So I don't wish karma on anyone. I really don't. What I wish is them understanding. Because punishment can make someone afraid. Understanding can make someone honest. Punishment can make someone suffer. Understanding can make someone finally see. And if they understand, it's really nice. They change their life. And if they never understand, that's okay. That's no longer your responsibility then. You don't have to sit beside the clock waiting for justice, darling. You don't have to watch their life. You don't have to wait for their downfall. You don't have to become a spectator in the story of someone who hurt you. Walk away from the theater. Let the curtain fall without you. Not my monkeys. Not my circus. Maybe karma isn't the universe saying I'll hurt them because they hurt you. Maybe it's saying let them live long enough to understand the weight of their own choices. Life has an extraordinary way of returning things. Not always in the same form. Not always on the same day. Somehow people eventually encounter the consequences of the energy they repeatedly put into the world. The liar eventually lives among people who questions him. The user eventually discovers that people don't stay where they feel used. The person who constantly seeks validation eventually realizes that admiration cannot fill an empty life. And the person who gives genuine love, maybe they lose people, maybe they cry, maybe they have nights when they wonder whether being good was worth it or no. But they haven't lost the most important thing. They haven't lost themselves. That's the greatest irony of all. The person who tried to destroy you may have changed your life, but they didn't get to decide its ending. You did. So let karma do whatever karma does. Let life continue with strange, beautiful mathematics. You have something better to do. Become. Become someone your past cannot recognize. Become someone whom you yourself cannot recognize. Create things your pain could never have imagined. Love, but without becoming foolish. Give, without becoming empty. Walk away, without becoming bitter. Karma is funny thing as well. Not funny because someone suffers. Funny because life has a way of revealing people without saying a word. You can spend your entire life trying to impress people and one quiet night discover that you don't even know yourself. You can pretend to be important, but eventually the room changes and nobody is listening. Life introducing you to the consequences of your own character. You don't have to wish someone's failure. You don't have to stand out their window waiting for the universe to punish them. Sometimes the universe simply lets you continue being yourself, and that's enough. That's enough. Because your habits become your life, your choices become your character, your character becomes your reputation, and eventually, your reputation becomes the world people built around you. That's karma, baby. You're constantly creating the place you're going to live in. With every lie, every kindness, every selfish decision, every movement you choose courage over fear, every time you make someone feel small, every time you make someone feel seen, life remembers in ways people don't. Nobody knows what you are, what you show, the way you behave, the script you give. That is how people perceive you, darling. But who knows about yourself is no one other than your own self. You know how you behave with every single person, or you know how you are from inside of your heart. What doesn't hide is your heart. It always keeps telling you that when you're doing wrong, when you're doing right, it keeps speaking, it keeps saying that no, 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 this is not something you should be doing. Sometimes it says that yes, 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 do this is right, this is where you are supposed to go. It's all about the gut feeling and what comes from inside, the feeling that comes from inside. Sometimes we get a feeling, right? No, I'm not getting a good feeling about this. Sometimes we get a feeling like, yes, this is nice, this is really nice, this is a good opportunity, I should be doing it. So go with that feeling sometimes. Maybe that feeling which is saying that don't do that, or maybe that feeling is right because it is stopping you from doing something which is not cool, which is not going to be great. So if you get that feeling, maybe that feeling is trying to give you some hints. Everybody gets the feeling. Everybody in this world has a thing that they know. They know. And if still they put a mask on their face and try to greet everyone, but inside their own family they behave so badly. So that's not the way you should be living your life. You behave so nicely with every single person outside and you pretend that you're the coolest person in this universe, you're the nicest person in this universe. I have seen people who treat their own family like trash, like dustbin. and go outside and pretend as if they are the godchild. There's one more thing I would like to say. Sometimes people think that karma will get clear if they keep going to the temples and keep doing, keep chanting God, keep chanting all the mantras. No, 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 no. Your karma will get clear, I believe, the moment you realize, the moment you understand things, that day your karma is clear. Because you realize, realization is the biggest power in this universe. Realizing, yes, I was so fuck all person. And then you realize that, wait, I don't want to keep doing this anymore. That realization, that understanding of yourself can change your life. So, understanding is important. Karma is not the universe keeping you a scorecard. Karma is life. Karma is life, showing you what your choices have been making of you. You become what you repeatedly practice. If you practice deception, eventually honesty feels uncomfortable. If you practice arrogance, eventually humility feels humiliating. If you practice kindness, eventually cruelty feels foreign. If you practice creating, eventually an empty life feels unbearable. If you spend your life performing for an audience, eventually you have to discover who you are when the audience leaves. And perhaps that's where karma becomes beautiful. Because the world may misunderstand you, but your life eventually tells the truth about you. You don't need to explain yourself forever. No. Time is a very patient storyteller. Time is a very patient storyteller. It reveals what was real, what was temporary, dude, what was performance, and dude, what was a character, and what was simply a moment. So I don't think karma is about waiting for someone to fall. I don't think karma is about continuing to become. Because while you are watching someone else's consequences, you might forget that your own life is being written too. Every choice is a sentence, huh? Every habit is a paragraph. Every year is another page. You have to read the book you wrote. That is karma, baby. Not revenge, not punishment. The authorship of your own life.